Hello, everybody.
Hello.
We're back.
We're back. This is the last of the interviews for the songs on our album.
That's amazing. I can't believe that we're here. So this is our 8th release. We released Stronger this last Thursday, and we are here to talk about that release and that song, and really kind of the end of our album, sort of song by song release, and with the anticipation of our final Bandcamp full album release that's going to be available for purchase. So anyways, we'll get to all that. But yeah, so Stronger was released on Thursday, and this is a really big song.
Pretty heavy. Heavy is the word that comes to mind the most for me for this song.
Yeah. And it was heavy to create it. I don't know, maybe you can talk a little bit first about your process and when and how it came about for you. And then maybe I can follow up with what happened once I got that.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that was a very, very strange time. And I mean, one of the most emotionally charged times of my life, I think, when I wrote the music for this, because this was like what, in June, or it was either like, it was sometime,
I think it was May, June. Yeah, sure. Like
June. So basically we had been in lockdown for like 3 months, and then so like everyone's emotions were pretty like high, and everyone had been like confined to their homes for a really long time, and it was,
well, we thought it was a long time then. 3 months. We're like, oh my God, what are we gonna do with ourselves?
Yeah. And then the George Floyd thing happened, and just all of that emotional charge was, there was something for people to direct it at, and I was very scared. I remember seeing some of the video of like the police shooting like tear gas at people, and really like aggressively attacking the protesters.
Mm-hmm.
Almost, I mean, it's, you're seeing selective videos, so I mean, it's a snapshot of what was happening, but it seemed to be unprovoked. And I mean, I was deeply troubled by all of that. And so like that was kind of the backdrop of what I was feeling at the time when I wrote that music. And you can really hear that in the first half of the song. I mean, it's really like eerie and unsettling almost. And so, you had that first half of the song that has that like off kilter kind of feel to it. But the thing I really like about the song is actually the second half of it, because I really think that second half is really hopeful. And the music, it gets a little bit more uplifting and hopeful in the second half of the song, especially like when that guitar comes in, and then leading into the a cappella vocal part at the end of the song, which is the way that we end the album. So it does, I keep using the word hopeful, but like that's the feeling that I'm left with at the end of the album. With the way that song ends is like one of hope, one of, we have a lot of work still to do as human beings in trying to like find connection with each other and help each other out and not be so divisive and hateful. But I think that there is hope for us.
Yeah. I mean, without hope, there is nothing to work towards. So I think as a survival mechanism, like have to find hope in the things that happen, and there have been a lot of very hopeless moments in this, and there continue to be a lot of really hopeless moments for a lot of people. I think for me in this song, or in this time, I remember sitting in my room, kind of like I had the news on, and it's just all kind of seeping in, and it's nothing new. All this that happened wasn't anything we haven't seen before. It wasn't anything that was a surprise to anybody. But on top of the pandemic, and also on top of the fact that this has just been going on for so goddamn long, there was this like further push, and it just felt like deeper. Like there was this deeper nudge within, I can only speak for myself, but within myself, to recognize a little bit more about what's actually happening versus what people want us to believe is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in the racial divide, and again, speaking as a white woman, there's only so much that I can understand. And even, as a white woman, like as an ally, like what are the things that I can do? And really the biggest thing is listen,
Yes.
understand, try to understand, but beyond that, accept the fact that the roots of this are so deep that it has affected all of us in ways that are uncomfortable. They're uncomfortable to talk about, they're uncomfortable to accept, even seeing our own racism. No one wants to think of themselves as racist, but the system has created something that just makes it inevitable that there is an essence of it all around us. And so it's, and the beginning of the song, there's this tension, there's this, you do this really beautiful in all the music that you write. But there's a frustration, there's a really, really, really deep frustration. And can you imagine how frustrated it felt for us? And then what if we were the ones actually being impacted generationally for hundreds of years in a system that really doesn't care? And like how that trajectory has changed people's possibilities, anyways, it really hit, it was so profound, because like I said, I think it helped me see just how bad it has been, and it has, and this time, I think hopefully made all of us reevaluate how we even think about the problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's tough, and it's continues to be tough. I mean, this is not, it will be tough for the rest of our existence. It will be tough for generations and generations to come, and it will slowly, I mean, we've come some ways, changes have been made, but what is it that we can do? So, but yeah, I mean, in the song, I think art allows us to help create a sense of hope. And I think you said that beautifully. I think within ourselves, we have to find hope to continue believing that there is something to live for. Because if there isn't, then what are we all doing here?
Sure,
Sure. And we want to get better. We want to be kinder. But how do we do that? How do we really do that?
Like you said, we can start by listening.
Yeah. So how do we, how do we find hope? How do we nurture hope? And I think, fear and anger are very stifling and very limiting energies, you know, but how can you live your life knowing everything that we know and everything that we see? And then, you know, in particular for people, you know, that it impacts directly, daily, and not live in fear and anger. It's like the cycle.
Well, I mean, I can tell you what I've been reading about recently.
Yeah.
What we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
We need to show up,
Mm-hmm.
and we need to be courageous, and we need to be vulnerable and empathetic.
Yeah.
And we need to find ways to connect with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, part of that connecting is listening and hearing people's stories and trying to like understand their experience. I mean, there's so many people that have different experiences than we do. And the only way we can possibly start to understand those is by listening to them and hearing their stories. And whether that's talking to people in person or listening to podcasts or reading books or watching videos, there's a lot of different ways that we can hear people's stories. And
yeah, and that's, you know, and that's definitely the most important start. I think for people that are in particular very deeply impacted by the problem, like the larger scale of the systemic issue is like something that, you know, obviously no podcast is going to take away. And that part of it is so massive that it's like so insulting. It's like so big and it's so blatant and it's so insulting. So yeah, but I mean, I agree. I think that, you know, obviously there's a lot more power in numbers, and there's a lot more power and collective consciousness when, you know, we are working together. But I think we need to reevaluate what that looks like, you know, and I think a lot of people are doing that. I mean, you know, Black Lives Matter being a huge proponent of, you know, standing up and being very vocal about the injustice that happens all the time since it began, which I believe was in like the late 2009, 2008
that's
or
not,
something.
I'm hoping you're not saying that's when injustice began. You're just saying that's when
No, Black Lives Matter started the organization. Oh gosh, wouldn't that be cute? That would be nice if that's when everything just started. But you know, these organizations make a huge impact, and well, and you know, unfortunately, they're just necessary. You know, that these exist not because they want to exist, but because they have to exist. And so, yeah, so anyways, I mean, I guess the point of this is that this song for me was this way of trying to connect with myself. And that's another thing. I mean, we were so isolated at that point. You know, I have a little boy. I was scared to go to protests, to be honest. It was so heavy and so real, and I honestly felt trapped. I didn't know what to do. And so this was my way of trying to communicate in a very confusing space, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So what a way to finish the record.
Yeah. And now we're going to be finally releasing the album. Just a few days. I'm excited for people to hear the whole, you know, we've been releasing one song at a time. And so, but I think really the album is meant to be listened to as a whole piece.
I agree. It's so funny because when we were recording these, when we were writing them, it didn't, you know, it didn't really seem that way. Or even when we decided to, you know, what order these were going to go in, I just didn't, until I heard it kind of in this way, I was like, Oh gosh, like this is actually very cohesive.
Well, yeah, I mean, until we like had a chance to like, once we finished it and like had a chance to reflect back, I mean, I remember talking to you about this, and it became kind of like obvious in retrospect that the whole album is about the story of us starting this project and doing something that was so meaningful to us. And I can only speak for myself here, but for me, it was a chance to kind of hit the reset button, on as a musician and an artist, and do something that I finally like felt like I had full ownership over.
Mhm.
And that was like very important for me, because I finally felt like with this album I was able to like fully express myself and my emotions in a way that I don't think I had been able to do before.
Mhm.
um, and it was, I mean, it was really an incredible process. So it makes sense to me that when we listen back to it as a whole piece and put it in the order of how we wrote the songs, that it worked. I don't, it's just,
It just
it
worked.
wasn't in, we
Well,
didn't do that
and
intentionally, but
no, but I also, I mean, a lot happened in that process. A lot of things externally were happening um, to all of us
yeah,
at the same time. And so, they say this about when you look at movements. I mean, not to say that we're part of some huge movement right now, but we are in a sense. But I'm just saying, as far as the music, but you look at painters, you can look at like Cubism, and
mhm,
Cubism was actually happening in multiple places in the world.
sure.
There was no internet. There was no one's talking about it. It's just this collective consciousness, this collective process of pushing forward. And the people to get recognized for it first are the ones that get paid the most. But
Hmm.
as people, we have this ability to connect with others in a way that's unexplainable and really relates back to like energy and like minerals.
Sure. Well, I mean, I mean, I think we call that spirituality, right? I mean, it's connecting to something, some energy source that's greater than us that we can't understand, right?
Yeah.
Um, but just because we can't understand it doesn't mean that we can't connect to it.
Yeah. Honey, your water bottle, I think, is in that swim bag or in my purse. Thank you. Yeah, and speaking of energy and connectivity, I mean, having Kai and like watching, um, him grow and him exude those things. But beyond that, when I was pregnant and when I had this energy life in me, I will never again, and had never before that, felt um, this really insane truth of, oh my gosh, there are cyclical things happening here that are so big. I had no doubt in my mind that Kai is reincarnated, that he had been here before, that my thoughts, the things I was like writing, the things I was feeling like were out of this world, and it was while he was inside of my body, which is a treat that women get to experience. Some women get to experience if they choose to, or if they can't. And it is, it's crazy. It's crazy. So we do, I mean, that is a thing. We do need to give a little bit more light. We live in this world that seems very controlled by outside forces, by other people, by dictators, by leaders, by these things. And I understand like there's this need for community, and kind of keeping things organized, I guess, that sometimes seem to cause more trouble than organization. But I understand there's something, sort of about it. It's really our civilization, so there's really nothing we can do about it at this point. But our energy is worth a lot more than I think we give it credit,
Mhm.
for sure. I mean, even in our own personal sort of, dare I say, like abundance of anything, happiness, um, uh, peace, wealth, whatever, a lot of it is rooted in our own ability to see our own good. So that was a sidetrack, but yeah, so this album, this album is full of that. Maybe that's the point. This album is full of that. And it's been such a treat to like go through that journey with you, Mickey. I can't say that enough. Because I think we do connect on those wavelengths, and
Sure.
And it's special. That doesn't happen all the time. And it's not that, other people don't have it. It's just maybe they're not connecting to it on the same like sort of timeline. Like I feel like we're connecting to it at a similar timeline, and that's why it's working for us,
Yeah.
And that's really special.
For sure.
So.
Yeah. So it's, this is like getting to release the album is a great milestone for this project, but hopefully the first of many.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Now we, we have some new songs that we've been working on that we're going to go into the studio and record. And
I mean, you guys just get used to us, okay? Because I don't think we're going anywhere. And I think, Mickey put it to me so beautifully one day, because, it's like, what can you really expect out of releasing anything? You can expect that you find joy in it, that other people might find joy in it, but where it takes us, we have no idea. We're at the beginning of this thing, and we might, end up playing some really cool shows and meeting lots and lots of people, or we might end up, having a small audience, and either one of those will be fine, because we are very dedicated to creating this work, because it feels good.
It does.
We hope that it feels good to other people.
Yeah. My goal is just is that we can connect to just one person.
Yeah.
And inspire and help one person. I mean, it would be great. Anything beyond that is even more of a gift. But as you said, I mean, I personally get so much fulfillment out of creating this music and the whole process that we went through to do it. And I hope people enjoy it as well. And I really am looking forward to playing this music live for people, for an audience, and connecting with the audience. That's a different experience, obviously, like connecting when you're playing live than having people like listen to your recording. But I'm very hopeful about the future and about our project, and very excited to see where things go.
Yeah. So you can find our project on Bandcamp this Thursday.
So so basically, you can.
I'm sorry, that's not Thursday. It's Wednesday.
No, it's Thursday. Oh no, it's Wednesday.
Second, it's Wednesday.
Oh wow, I'm glad you told me that, because I would have. Holy moly. Okay. So Wednesday, February 2nd. So you can, if you would like to purchase the album, you can go to Bandcamp, to the Syzygal Bandcamp page, and purchase the album. If you want to just listen to the album and stream it, you can go to any of the streaming services to do that. If you want to watch the videos, you can go to our YouTube channel or our website. So there's
which I made, you guys. I made those videos with my blood, sweat, and tears.
And did an incredible job.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
So there's lots of different ways to engage with the music and the art, whatever your preference is. And if you feel so inclined or moved by the music, and you would like to share it with other people, that would be awesome as well.
Yes, for sure. Sharing is caring, I think somebody said once.
Yeah.
Or twice. So yeah, thank you so much, you guys. This is going to be our last little interview for a while.
Maybe.
I'm going to miss it, maybe. We'll see. But we are going to stay busy, and this has just been such an incredible journey, and we're just, again, grateful, thankful, hopeful, optimistic, but also realistic, and just, I don't know. I want to see you guys all in person. I want to jump around the stage with Sequence on ASAP. Let's do this very soon, please. Very soon.
All right, Anna.
Bye, Mickey. I'm going to miss you, man.
I mean, I'm sure we're gonna like talk tomorrow.
We're gonna talk tomorrow, but you know, these interviews have been fun, and we don't live in the same city, so it's, you know. Okay,
I'll be coming up to Chicago soon.
that's true. All right, bye.
Bye.